MotorWeek is made possible by TireRack.com, RockAuto.com, State Farm, and WeatherTech.
So, with that said, let's go across the street and see what Ford has in store for the 1983 new car year. Back when Ford was an aviation giant, making the venerable Ford tri-motor passenger plane, the Dearborn Proving Ground was actually the old Dearborn Airport. So this seems an appropriate place to preview the latest, albeit earthbound, winged creation from Ford, the strikingly new 1983 Thunderbird. To be introduced in January, the T-Bird's new body shell is the shape of Ford's to come, a totally sleek, rounded sculpture that makes the most extensive use of aerodynamics in U.S. auto history. Except for the egg crate grille, there's hardly a straight edge anywhere. And since the T-Bird sits low to the ground, Ford has extended the door edges into the roof panel to allow for extra headroom when climbing in or out. Mechanically, the new Thunderbird is conventional, front engine and rear drive, and is built on a shortened version of the chassis used on last year's T-Bird. While initial drivetrains include only a 3.8-liter V6 and a 3- or 4-speed automatic, next spring Ford will debut a 5-speed manual, 4-cylinder, turbocharged, fuel-injected version. Ford hopes that that'll put the performance image back into the Thunderbird picture once and for all. Mercury will also have a version of this new two-door coupe under the Cougar name. I liked its vertical bar grille better than the Thunderbird's, but most other body panels are identical with one big controversial exception. Mercury marketing moguls think that their buyers are a bit more formal than Ford's. So they've opted for a traditional square-back roof that gives this model a much different appearance from the Thunderbird. The idea at first is a bit disturbing, but the results are quite handsome. But Ford hasn't forgotten the traditional family sedan either. They're also introducing a new downsized line of four-door sedans and wagons. Some familiar nameplates will be on them, the tried and true LTD and the Mercury Marquis. They also show extensive wind tunnel refinements with a sloped nose and a spoiler-like rear. Obviously, Ford is moving swiftly away from the boxy shapes that have been its trademark for over 20 years. The European background of Ford's current management team is making itself felt in the trend towards smaller engines without the all-too-common lack of performance. Both the LTD and Marquis not only come with a baseline 2.3-liter 4-cylinder, but a manual 4-speed gearbox as well. What impressed us most was how much initial throttle response was present, even with an automatic transmission. That gets even more impressive when you consider the car's weight of over 3,000 pounds. Fleet buyers will also be able to buy propane-powered LTDs for about $1,500 extra. Handling is much better than any full-size Ford sedan of the past, yet the ride retains the kind of smoothness that you expect in any highway cruiser. Frankly, even though the new LTD Marquis lacks the advances of front-wheel drive, Ford's engineers are taking the American family sedan to a new technological height. But, not to be totally outdone in the front-wheeler market, Ford plays another card in 1983. Its long-awaited Ford Tempo Mercury Topaz Compacts. The 2- and 4-door sedans will be introduced next spring on a stretched Escort platform. Having seen the car, I can tell you that these spy photos fail to do justice to the design. Styling is smooth and also borrows heavily from European Fords, complete with doors that extend into the roof like the Thunderbird. Rear-end styling is also unique. Small, odd-shaped taillights are sure to provoke quite a bit of comment. No Ford has ever looked quite like this before. There's a lot more to the Ford story for 1983 than its new car lines. Ford is a large company that makes cars for all walks of life, and like its competitors, it strives to keep models introduced in previous years up to date. So let's take a look now at the rest of the Ford, Mercury, Lincoln lines. First, products destined for those who want a lot more than basic transportation. The largest cars at Ford carry the Lincoln Star and include the Town Car series of 4-door sedans. They're available in a base, signature, and Cartier designer series. New items include electronic radios, a neat automatic day-night rearview mirror, an anti-theft alarm, and an automatic garage door opener. The Mark 6 series also continues with only minor changes. Both 2- and 4 doors are each available with a simulated convertible roof. It's a bit of a tease though, since it looks too much like the real thing not to work. The smaller Continental, new last year, also continues with only minor changes in trim, but they have added electronic fuel injection to the standard 5-liter V8. The 3.8-liter V6, optional last year, is no longer available, as fuel economy didn't seem to matter much to the traditional Lincoln buyer. One car you probably didn't expect to see for 1983 is the LTD Crown Victoria, the old, full-size Ford. Rumors abounded that this big, square behemoth would be gone with the introduction of the new downsized LTD. But sales have continued strong enough to breathe more life into the Victoria and its sister, the Mercury Grand Marquis, at least for one more year. 2- and 4-door sedans, along with this 4-door wagon, will be offered. This Mercury Grand Marquis Colony Park has few competitors when it comes to carrying a big family and big cargo on long, comfortable vacations. America is sure to miss these cars. Also given at least another year's reprieve are the Fairmont Futura and Mercury Zephyr series. Having been the basis for both the new T-Bird and downsized LTD, these mid-size 2- and 4-door sedans and 2-door coupes will eventually be replaced by the Tempo Topaz, so changes for '83 are also minimal. Not so minimal are the alterations to Ford's most popular car line, the Escort Lynx. After major revisions in suspension and steering and drivetrain for '82, Ford continues its upgrade program by adding a fuel injection option to the sole 1.6-liter power plant. The Euro-American design 4-cylinder will also still be available in a base carbureted version with a high output option. Both the fuel-injected and high-output engines can also be mated, finally, to a 5-speed manual gearbox. Small engines need all the gearing they can get, and this is one option that was long overdue. And we can happily report that it works very well. As before, this front-drive subcompact is available in 2- and 4-door hatchbacks, a 4-door wagon, and a 2-door sporty version that will be called the Lynx RS at Mercury and the Escort GT at Ford. Both come standard with the fuel-injected power plant and a Michelin TRX tire and suspension package. Every hot rod option for the Escort Lynx can also be ordered on their 2-seater kin, the Ford EXP and the Mercury LN7. These bug-eyed spirits are rumored to be due for retracting headlights next year, so this year they'll get along with only minor trim changes. But the addition of fuel injection and a 5-speed manual make the EXP LN7 the closest thing to an all-around, under 10 grand domestically made sports car we've got. But if sheer unadulterated speed is more your bag, then let me direct your attention to the horse of a different color, the 1983 Ford Mustang Gt and its stablemate, the Mercury Capri Rs. Both the GT and this RS are available with a revised 4-barrel, 5-liter, high-output V8 that delivers 17 more horsepower than last year's model. It was already the fastest car made in the U.S. Ford also expects to offer a Borg-Warner 5-speed manual gearbox and a turbocharged 4-cylinder later in the year, providing speed freaks with the last word in high-performance powertrains. The more sedate Mustangs and Capris do feature some significant styling changes. The Mustang gets a new grille and taillight treatment, the first revision since its introduction in 1979. And not to be left out in the current revival trend, a limited run of Mustang convertibles. They'll have loaded price tags of around $14,000 and will be offered in an attempt to restore even more of the pony's old glory. The Mercury Capri sports a revised rear end that includes a bubble back hatch similar to the LN7. That gives you increased luggage space and improved aerodynamics and fuel economy. For the first time, a 3.8-liter V6 will also be offered, along with the base 2.3-liter 4 and 5-liter V8. But if carrying boxes is more important than bodies, then Ford hopes there might be one of their trucks in your future. The just-introduced mid-size Ranger line will grow substantially. They're adding a 2-speed, part-time, 4-wheel drive option, a new 5-speed manual gearbox, and next spring the downsized Bronco 2 multi-purpose vehicle. Spy photos seem to confirm early marketing tests. The Bronco 2 could be one of the most popular vehicles of its type ever introduced. And, if successful, it would cap off a 12-month period that saw more new models introduced by the Ford Motor Company than at any other time in its history.
One of the things most impressed upon us by Ford is how much market research they do before introducing a new car. They want to make sure it's right before they put their name on it. And the same is true for us at MotorWeek. We want to hear how you, our market, like what we do, and any suggestions about topics you'd like to see in the future. So why not drop us a line? Our address is MotorWeek, Owings Mills, Maryland, 21117. That's MotorWeek, Owings Mills, Maryland, 21117.